Queen of Scots. It's on now. Yes.
Oh yes, I know. I've just seen it.
Northern Kingdom. But I watched it. I watched the service in Ireland. They had they've been in Northern Ireland,
Yes.
and I watched the service in Northern Ireland.
Oh, right.
I think poor Prince Charles and Camilla, they'll be worn out before
Yes.
before the
She
funeral.
doesn't look very strong actually. She looks very thin, and actually so will Princess Anne, won't she? And
I know.
in fact, all of them, quite honestly.
Yes.
It's not an easy thing, and
Princess Anne is on her way at the moment. She's just getting on an aeroplane and coming back to London.
oh, is she?
Yes.
Good. Yes. Was she? Were they there?
No. When she gets here, she's going to be busy. They've got a service in London,
Oh, okay.
and then they're going to do another guard, I think, in London.
Yeah.
Which will shortly lift away from this airport.
It's a full time. They've been working absolutely full time ever since the Queen died.
And the next stage in this.
Really?
You know, they've been doing this every time.
The signs of the ramp being put into place,
Anyway,
sealing this precious cargo for the journey.
and I don't know quite where she is now. I thought she was at a holiday property bond in York, but I don't know actually. She phoned this morning and I couldn't get to her, and so it may be her.
The Queen's generation, who in their salad days, as Elizabeth II often used to refer to it.
Pick it up. I haven't got it. Please. Is it Catherine? Hello. Hello.
Press it.
Oh, you haven't pressed it. Okay. Hello.
Hello, hi.
Hi, is it Anne?
Yes.
Hello, Anne. Okay.
How are you doing?
Beg your pardon?
How are you doing?
How am I doing? All right, thank you.
Good.
Went out on the patio this morning for a bit, and it was very nice actually. It's a nice sky at the moment, very blue and whitish, with just bright clouds. It's lovely.
That's lovely.
Yes. Anyway, what are you doing?
Oh, well, Sally arrived this morning.
Oh yes, of course.
That's lovely. So I had Pilates this morning, and then I picked her up at the airport.
Well, thank her for my flowers. I think they came from about on the first actually.
Yes, you rang her, and I was with you.
Oh good, that's all right. Oh, thank her again, because it was very thoughtful.
Hello.
Okay, yeah.
Hello. Okay, so she's upstairs getting ready to then go out to meeting. So we went up to Sanford.
As the preparations for flight are done,
And we
it's perhaps worth reflecting on how well the salute has been made to Elizabeth II.
Oh, was it? What kind of food did you have?
I had been
The
prepared,
soldiers in particular,
and
rapidly trained to deliver the very best
the cheese,
of salutes. Members of this regiment who formed the Barrack Party and who conveyed Elizabeth Queen of Scots from the hearse into Holyrood to rest overnight before being taken in that really moving journey up through the Cannon Gate along the High Street and to the High Court St Giles. Almost always in the most beautiful weather. The black cock feathers in their Glengarries catching the wind here.
and then we went down to Neil, and we had a drink there, and now we just come out.
much has been made of the Queen's understanding of and affinity for the military. So Alistair, how much pride will there be for those we see there at the airport today, those standing, waiting patiently, and for all those involved in the days to come, serving the monarch who has been their commander-in-chief?
Well, in particular, this man, the Garrison Sergeant Major, Warrant Officer First Class Anthony Gibson of the Scots Guards, who probably hasn't slept much since the sad news came of the Queen's death. He has shaped and reminded young soldiers of their military drill from their training. He's brought them from military fieldcraft work back onto the drill square and brought them into a position that they can play the highest salute from Scotland to the Queen, and also helped train the Royal Company of Archers, who along with their Toxophilus Sergeant Major have done so much. And Garrison Sergeant Major now giving instruction.
25th.
Always reminding the officers to make sure that everything's done as it should be. He gives the signals at all time. But I think that when this great Globe Master lifts the Queen into the sky and takes her away from Scotland, every service man and woman who has played a part, and all the civilian staff from the civil service who've helped in the organisation and preparation for this farewell from Scotland, which was called Operation Unicorn, can take great pride that the traditions that have always been at the heart of the Scot when serving, and when particularly serving Elizabeth, Queen of Scots, has been done. We'll know that the aircraft's about to take off when the boarding ramp is finally closed. We're looking out towards the Pentlands and then in the north to Firth of Forth and of course over to Arthur's Seat and the other hills around Edinburgh. One just is reminded by what a beautiful setting this ceremonial has had.
What the age is this Friday, 16? Actually, the clock that you got for me, and we was being assembled in it this afternoon. And of course it doesn't say when we had a power cut. And so I forgotten the house.
When this aircraft turns over the hills of London and comes into land at RAF Northolt, a further ceremonial will begin to convey the late Queen into London. It will provide people who wish the chance to witness and salute in the way the Scots have showed can be done, to welcome her home to Buckingham Palace, the headquarters of her reign as sovereign, watched now by Premier Muddiman, Royal Navy and Royal Marines, Major General Bill Wright, General Officer Scotland, and the Air Officer Scotland.
Yes, I'm talking about.
Soldiers with their green tunics and the sergeants with their red crossbelts. The sashes that have hanging from them tassels which would be planted so that you knew how many troops you had in your platoon checkerboard.
Anyway, okay.
Prince Philip was a very keen pilot, and very often the Queen found herself in the back of an aircraft,
Yes,
flown either by her husband
that's
or
right.
by
I
her son,
see outer clocks. Yes, I thank you
and
for that.
it's a tradition that the family always really enjoyed doing, and it meant that the Queen's association with the Royal Air Force was even stronger than perhaps otherwise it might have been. Watching on the left of our picture there, the Lord Lieutenant and Lord Provost of Edinburgh.
clocks
who has
actually
met
are not
both the King
the
and the
ones
late
that I
Queen
can alter,
at every
are the
point
ones
during
that I
this
can't alter.
ceremonial few days.
Well, I
There on the
think
right
you
of
have to
those
go off
medals,
into
the
the loft to
Queen's
do so.
Platinum Jubilee
You
Medal,
can't do
which
it from
soldiers
the back
sailors
as
airmen
far
and
as
women
I
were given
can see.
this year to
Anyway,
mark
when I see you next, you can do it. When I
serving
get
at a
somebody
time
who's not.
when the Queen
I
had reached
don't think
70
you
years
can.
Only the light
as sovereign.
in the kitchen is up in the attic.
Oh, okay. Well, do you understand? I got Muriel here at the moment, what I'm talking about.
The Duke of Buccleuch,
On top.
who is the gold stick for Scotland, which means that he was responsible for the sovereign's security,
They
and he was
have got
Captain
a
General, the
circle
senior
at the
officer of
back,
the Royal
but I
Company of
can't
Archers, the
open
King's
that
bodyguard for Scotland,
under
who
it.
we saw
Apparently,
in
I don't
those
know.
eagle feathered hats playing that part.
I'm sorry, I just don't get it.
No, never
The
mind.
principals who have put this
I'll
together,
explain it
as I
when
was saying,
we're by ourselves.
William Muddleman,
So
General Wright,
I
and
want
Air
to
Vice
talk to
Marshal
you
Preston
and
with
okay.
Garrison Sergeant Major
I just don't
Barnard.
understand.
Oh,
Okay, that's fine.
yours is me that can't understand. And never mind. We'll sort it out. And
The
I'll have
wind
a
is
word with
catching
Muriel.
the grasses. Alistair
Anyway,
Jack,
there
the
you
Secretary of
go.
State for Scotland and
And
the First
my
Minister for Scotland,
balloons
Nicholas
are
Sturgeon.
beginning to wilt.
Oh, are they? Okay.
Yeah. How do I stick a pin in them?
You can do what you like, whatever you want to do.
Okay then. I'll keep it going for a bit.
Whatever you like.
Yes, okay.
Yesterday in
Okay.
Parliament, responding to the opportunity to make
Well, give him my love.
an emotion of condolence, the First Minister spoke a lot about her visits to Balmoral and the fun that she had and her husband rushing when one of the lights started to flicker because he'd spotted that one of the Queen's dogs was biting its way through an electric light cable.
Bye, dear. Bye.
And a reminder, she said, of how precious it was
Can
as
I look at your card?
First Minister of Scotland to be able to have this annual meeting at Balmoral. She also was received in audience at
Is this
Hi.
on?
Rood, as is the tradition. The Queen always liked to know from the First Minister what was going on and important to
5:25.
the Scottish Parliament and to her First Minister.
What do I do to get him?
The
Are
Queen
you
just
sure
kept
it's
counsel of so
which
many
is perhaps
people,
it's?
never gave one
I think
word of
I'm
it
sure
away.
I can't do it, but I'm sure Eva could.
Queen's colour and regimental
I
colour
think
of
she
the
probably could.
Regiment of Scotland.
Anyway, can I look at your cards? I haven't seen your cards.
And there's two, that's Anne's up there, I think, and this was a lovely one. Have a look at that. Have a look at that.
Oh yes.
And
They've cleared the
the
air from all
Anne's
other
is up
aircraft
the
for the
top
moment.
there.
So as soon as
Oh,
this
I see that
aircraft
one.
lands,
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that one up there.
See what it says.
There's always
I've
a tradition
I've seen that
an
one.
aircraft at the Queen's flight was
Yes,
travelling
I've seen
across
that.
the United Kingdom.
This,
Purple airspace
Yes.
was created around the manoeuvre of the
on
sovereign.
the dresser here.
Yes, I've seen that before.
No, this one,
This Queen
on
who
the
really
end. Look,
was sovereign when purple airspace began.
that, at
We'll
the
receive
end. Have
it
you
for the
seen
last
that one?
time as this pocket
Well, that's
of
right,
the
that's an old
airways
one. It's
are left from
No, I haven't seen that one before.
Yeah, and I picked it up.
That's
Queen's
lovely.
crest
Yes,
standing atop the royal crown.
there you go.
Battle honours, some of which were given by the Queen to this regiment for its service on operations on behalf of protecting
I guess what it is, then I go home.
band of the Royal Regiment of Scotland, who so recently were playing music at the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo.
saw that one. That's for the marriage.
The C-17 Gledmaster, when it lifts away from Edinburgh, will leave this glorious weather behind, because London is
Yes.
completely surrounded by rain clouds, and it's pouring at Buckingham Palace. This Guard of Honour has one further salute to give. I was telling you earlier on that for a soldier to make this compliment, presenting arms is the highest that can be given. It's because a soldier trains with a weapon to protect him or her in battle, and when instructed to present arms, you're basically offering your means of survival to the person who you most admire. And we will see them make one last royal salute to Elizabeth, Queen of Scots, as she leaves and the aircraft pulls away.
That's a lovely one, that one. Well, this one about all the things that happened in 1932. A friend of Caroline, a friend of Andrew's and Catherine. Did you know her? You know her, do you? It's a friend of Andrew.
There is a sense throughout all of this that the Queen is not alone. The bearer party, found by the Royal Air Force, who carried her coffin to the aircraft, will remain with it on that journey to London. So too her daughter, Princess Royal, Princess Anne, and her husband, Sir Tim Lawrence. And during that vigil at St Charles Cathedral, members of the public were there. But those members of the Royal Company of Archers with their heads bowed, and the chaplains, formerly to the Queen, now to the King, who also sat throughout the whole period she was in there. And Alistair, is that, in a sense, the tribute they are also paying to Her Majesty?
As I was saying before, the Scots are always very direct. I often tell people when they visit me as the Queen's Governor, now the King's Governor in Edinburgh Castle, that if anyone's come up from England to Scotland and they're looking for deference, they'd better move south again, because the Scots are very direct. But they know how to respect. And I think that the example of Elizabeth, Queen of Scots, was so selfless, so genuinely steady, that whether you were comfortable with or opposed to the idea of a monarch as head of state, this Queen managed to gain the respect of most Scots. And that's quite an achievement for anyone. The Guard has been brought to attention. The scheduled departure time is 5 minutes from now, but this aircraft will need to taxi into position to take off.
maternity hospital. So they must have got your age wrong.
In 1952, King George VI was unwell, and he called upon his daughter and her husband, Princess Elizabeth, then Duchess of Edinburgh and the Duke, to represent him on a tour in Africa. The King waved his daughter goodbye as she set off on that journey, and while she was watching the wildlife in Kenya, the King died at Sandringham in Norfolk, and she unknowingly became Queen. The very first flight of her reign was returning from Kenya with all the thoughts that a young 25-year-old Queen must have contemplated in terms of what this meant to her. Always, one got the impression that the Queen most concerned herself
Sorry.
as sovereign
Yeah, these ones I've...
with whether her father would have been
Yes, they did
proud
take now, yes.
of what she had done.
I'm sorry, I thought you were doing the trousers now.
I am.
As her final flight begins,
I've got lots of trousers.
I think it is certain that after serving through the period of 15 Prime Ministers, starting with Winston Churchill, who waited for her at the bottom of the steps of that aircraft when she arrived
I was wondering about giving
in the
you
United
one,
Kingdom,
but I think that'd be
I
too
think
big for you.
King George VI would sing that his daughter had done a very fine thing,
I've got
and that
some
he was
green trousers
admirably proud
I'm thinking of getting rid of. But
of
I
the
think
Queen
they're
she
too
became.
big for you. It's,
The Lord Provost, the King's representative here in Edinburgh with the First Minister, Secretary of State for Scotland, leading them away as the aircraft will lift
I think
into the sky.
I bought them in a charity shop to begin with.
The armed forces have given their last salute here in Scotland.
Charity shops are becoming fashionable now.
Yes. I think they're usually very good.
Yes.
4th Battalion, the Royal Regiment of Scotland, will return to their military duties and
I
train.
know this Brooker, she doesn't buy any clothes except from a charity shop.
I've stopped buying clothes. I've got too many, well, not too many, but I have not bought clothes. But I gave them away. Because they were really coats and they were too heavy for me.
Yeah.
And my cupboards are absolutely full of things. It's
I know.
dreadful. Now what you do?
I'm looking at my clock to see which of your clocks is right.
Well, that one is.
Yes, that one's right.
Yes, but it's not,
It's not electric.
it's not. Yes, it does. I think it is. It's just an ordinary clock. That's good.
Yes. That's the right time.
That's the right time.
Yes.
But this other one
Yes.
has that on the back. Obviously, I have never.
The next time anybody comes, I'm sure we've got some I'm sure. Yeah, you see if I'm right. Yeah, when next time somebody comes in, somebody better than me.
Elizabeth, Queen of Scots, lifts into the skies. And not long ago, her son, the new king, addressed the Scottish Parliament.
Well, she's not. She's okay.
And he said, if I might paraphrase the words of the great Robert Burns,
Well, she's got an appointment.
my dear mother was
week, yes.
the friend of man, the friend of truth,
I think Jill will take her.
the friend of age,
Jill
and
always
guide
takes
of
her.
youth.
Yeah. Or
Few
Hillary.
hearts like hers,
Sometimes Hillary.
with virtue warmed. Few heads with knowledge so informed.
But I mean, she's all right, but she's not having any treatment. That's the trouble. No, she's yeah, she's given up the treatment, and she hadn't having any treatment. No, it might not. It might be. Well, we hope so, but we don't know. Because she should be having treatment. She should be having chemotherapy. But she's not having it because it makes her too ill. Yeah, I've just been watching it this afternoon. You just said you're not watching. I think Eva's watching it now. Well, tonight, you'll probably go to bed, but the Bake Off, the Great British Bake Off, is on tonight. It starts at 8 o'clock. A new series.
What is it about?
Well, the Queen's father would have been proud of her, but Scotland, to use the colloquial Louise, should be proud of itself. That was quite a sentence.
I think so. I think we've seen Scotland at its very best, serving a monarch to the very last, a
I mean,
monarch that was
everyone
very much
watches
loved.
it, but I don't think you watch it.
We have a new king, one that I respect and admire very much. But there's something in me just wanted to say, no, don't leave. And I can only imagine how the staff at Balmoral Castle, my former colleagues and still friends, and at the Palace of Holyrood House behind me, must have felt.
What time do you wake
I want to
up?
say, no, don't go, stay. Sorry.